Hi everyone, welcome back to Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Today's video is my TBR for January and for the Past and Future Readathon. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name's Alice and I have way too many books, and at the beginning of a brand new year I always like to try to prioritise getting through those way too many books. This year is no different, and I'll be using the readathon that I'm helping to host to get me through as many books from my shelf as possible. Now, I do still have some books out from the library. I'm not going to stop myself from reading those, but I am going to try to not get out any more new books from the library during the month of January. The Past and Future Readathon, if you haven't seen my announcement yet, is a readathon that is very casual that we are hosting in January. When I say we, I mean me and also the original creator of Past and Future Readathon, which is Emily from Novell Novels, and also our friends Gemma from Gemma Books, Jack from Spread Book Joy, Charlie from Charlie Book Reads, and Dani from Dani's Book World. We have got 8 prompts this year and a sort of mood reading prompt in the middle of our bingo board. I'm going to take you through the choices that I've made for my TBR for this readathon. Hopefully everything that I've said I will read in January is included within this readathon. I will of course be participating in my own book club, the FOMO book club, which I also run with Gemma from Gemma Books and Jack from Spread Book Joy. And our book we are going to be reading in January and February is Tipping the Velvet by Sarah Waters. This will be my first Sarah Waters, and I don't yet have a copy of this book, but hopefully by January. Probably have borrowed this from my mum, I think. I'm sure she owns some of the Sarah Waters books, and if not, I will try and get that from the library, even though I've just said no more library books. But it is very, very likely that I will do that in February rather than January, because I like to read the book quite close to our live show so that I remember lots of details of it. So anyway, let's get on with talking about the Past and Future Readathon. The very first prompt is a past prompt, and that is read the oldest book on your TBR. So I have selected a book for this, and I've chosen Alone by Lisa Gardner. And I believe this to be, if not the oldest, then one of the oldest on my TBR. And I think this one has been on the TBR since 2007, and there are a couple of other contenders which I think have been on my TBR since maybe near to then, but more probably 2008. And both of those I think actually originally belonged to my husband, so I'm going with this one because I definitely did buy this one myself. I definitely did buy it new from Borders, $6.99. I think this is about a state trooper and a woman who has previously been abducted. Also think that there's a killer on the loose in this one. I'm looking forward to getting this off my TBR once and for all. The second prompt in the past section of the Past and Future Readathon prompts is old favourite. Reread an old favourite or read a book by a favourite author. I've chosen the second option, which is read a book by a favourite author, because I don't really want to do a lot of rereading in January. I would rather read books that will tick them off my TBR. I've chosen one of 2 options for this. I will either read a book by Dick Francis. I have a selection of them here. I showed these recently in my giant TBR video. I have a lot of them. I've kept a few off my shelf because I would like to read some maybe between Christmas and New Year if I get time, but if not, I would definitely like to read one in January. Dick Francis is a really good crime writer in my opinion, and I've always enjoyed his books in the past, so I'm going to count him as like a previous favourite author. So I don't know which of these it would be, but I would really like to kickstart the year by getting some of his books off my TBR, so there isn't quite so many on there. My other option for this prompt, and I think this would double for another prompt as well, would be Lee Child last year for a similar prompt, which I think was to read a book by a favourite author. I read a Jack Reacher book, and this year I think I will do the same. So this one is the first Jack Reacher book that has been written by Lee Child with his brother Andrew Child, who is going to be taking over writing this series, and this one's called The Sentinel. This is where I'm up to in this series. It would be good to carry on a series, which is also a later prompt. I expect it will be the usual Jack Reacher sort of thing. I think this one is set in Nashville, Tennessee. I don't know when this video will be coming out, but as of when I'm filming it, I watched the first 3 episodes of the new series of Reacher last night, and yeah, I can't wait for the rest of them to come out, because it was almost exactly what I expect from it, other than I think that they have changed the setting. So yeah, I hope to read this for prompt number 2 and get my Jack Reacher fix in January. The third prompt is bucket list, and bucket list is to read a book from your bucket list or that you've always meant to get to. I've chosen a modern classic for this, that is Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. And this has been on my sort of mental TBR for absolutely years. A lot of people read this in school. I didn't read it in school. My school, for some reason, chose different books at GCSE. So I never did read Of Mice and Men, but always meant to get round to it. Gemma from Gemma Books kindly sent me this, so it is high time I got to it. It's definitely a bucket list read, and I'm looking forward to it. Next up, we move on to the future prompts. The first future prompt I can't actually select something for yet, because it is new edition. Read a recent addition to the TBR or your newest book. Now, if I was counting this from now, I could say that one of the most recent books to come into my house is Ulysses by James Joyce. I will be starting this in January as part of a buddy read with Gemma from Gemma Books, but this is one we are planning to take our time with. I definitely don't think it will be finished in 1 month, so I'm not going to be using it for any prompts of this readathon, but this is a December addition to my TBR. What I'm going to do for this prompt is I'm going to choose whichever of my Christmas presents I feel like reading first, or second if I've read some between Christmas and New Year. So that one's to be decided. I will let you know when we hit January. The second prompt is New Year's resolution, and this is meant to be getting you off to a good start with a goal. I haven't made my goals video yet, but what I have done is set myself 24 books that I want to read in 2024. I really want to get off to a good start with that. I got off to a good start with my 23 for 23 lists last year, and then just let them fall by the wayside. So I'm going to try and be better this year. Haven't actually selected what will be that book. This one is actually on that list, so I could double up if I needed to tick off the prompts, but I could also read something else, and it could be any of the other 23 on that list really at this point. That one's another slightly wait and see prompt, and again I will let you know about what it's definitely going to be in January. Number 3 on the future prompts I have chosen a book for, and this was try something new, pick a read using a colour wheel. I used a colour wheel to pick which colour book I was going to select, and here is the wheel spinning. It chose blue, and I have lots of lovely blue books to choose from. I've chosen 2 to show you, and I think that this one probably qualifies as the bluest because it is blue sprayed edges as well, although they do go a bit purpley in places. This blue book is Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel. I would absolutely love to get to this because I bought it in 2022 and intended to read it straight away. It's since come out in paperback and I still haven't got to it. I would absolutely love to read this in January, and I think I actually set this on my TBR for last January as well. The only obstacle to reading this one is that as my Moody Monday pick earlier this month, I did choose The Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mandel, and I have heard that this book is more interesting if you have already read Station 11, which I have read, and The Glass Hotel, which I haven't. So the only thing that could stop this from being the blue pick for January would be if I haven't finished The Glass Hotel, because I haven't really been reading that very much. Hopefully I will have finished it in December and we'll be able to go on to Sea of Tranquility straight away in January. This sounds like a really strange book with many different timelines, possibly even involving time travel. And yeah, I don't really want to know that much more. I just want to wait and see what it's like. If I don't get to that one, this one has a blue spine and lovely blue cover and back cover, so I could go for this. I bought this earlier this year, The Decagon House Murders by Yukito Ayatsuji, and this one is a Japanese murder mystery. I would love to get to this in January. I'm nearly always in the mood for reading mysteries and thrillers. I think this involves some amateur sleuths trying to solve some murders, and it says it's a Japanese bestseller inspired by Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. So I don't need anything else to recommend me this book. If it's based on And Then There Were None, I want to read it. We go on to the either or prompts. The first one of those was series sort out, to continue a series or start a new one. I've already mentioned Jack Reacher, which is a series I would very much like to continue. I haven't mentioned any audiobooks on this TBR, and it's very, very likely I will be carrying on a series on audio in January anyway, because I am soon going to be starting The Heroes by Joe Abercrombie with Gemma from Gemma Books and Jack from Spread Bookjoy. And we've been reading all of the First Law series of books. I know that these middle three are in fact standalones, but because they're all in the First Law world, I kind of consider it a series still. Like, there's still some characters from the First Law trilogy, or there were in the last book, so I don't see why not. I could count that as well. But the other option that I have is I really wanted to complete a series last year, and that was the Ruth Galloway series by Ellie Griffiths, and I've listened to all of that series on audiobook. I have one book left, The Last Remains, and I'm pretty sure I've talked about it multiple times before. I downloaded it on audiobook straight away when it came out, and I still haven't got to it, shamefully. So if I was to get to that, I would in fact complete a series, and that would be really good. I haven't completed a crime series in ages because they don't usually come to a stop. On the one hand, I will be sad when that series is finished, but on the other hand, I've really enjoyed it and I would like to know the conclusion. So that is my other audiobook option, and maybe as I haven't got too many audiobooks planned in, I will be able to get to that in January as well. The second prompt, which could be either past or future, was Book Buddy, Have a Friend Choose Your Book. And this book has been kindly chosen for me by my best friend and her husband, and their pick for me after watching my giant TBR video is The House of Silk by Anthony Horowitz. I love their reasons for choosing this, which was that January seems like a great time to read some Sherlock Holmes on the dark days, and I do agree. We've had a lot of grey days lately and it's still going to be very wintry in January. I do love mysteries in winter. I do love Sherlock Holmes, and I've been meaning to try Anthony Horowitz's version of Sherlock Holmes for such a long time that I absolutely cannot wait to try this. Thank you very much to Cheryl and Wayne. I'm looking forward very much to getting to that one. The final prompt that we have on our bingo board, that is the centre of the bingo board, is Moody Monday. And I have explained this in my announcement video, but basically Moody Monday was the idea that on the first Monday of the month, my friends and I were choosing a mood reading pick to read that day or in that week. We've been doing that for a little while, and it's always nice to pick a mood read. The first Monday of the month actually does fall on Monday the 1st, but we've left it open that you can choose your mood reading pick on any Monday in the month. And I might actually do a mood read pick more than once. I really like the idea of picking a book to mood read on January the 1st, it may be that it's one of these books, or it may be something totally off at a tangent. I may also revisit again on Monday the 15th or later in the month, depending on how well I've got on with my other reads. Those are my tentative reading plans for the Past and Future Readathon. But what I love about this readathon is that it can very much be approached as like a mood reading event. You can use it in any way to give yourself any kind of guidance you need for a great start to the year. That's what I'm hoping to do. If you're joining in with the Past and Future Readathon, let me know what you've chosen for any of these prompts in the comments down below. If you are making your own TBR for this readathon on your channel, do use the hashtag Past and Future Readathon so that I can find and watch your TBR video, because I would love to hear what you're all reading. If not, I'd love to hear any of your January plans. What will you be reading? Are you making any New Year's resolutions reading wise? I'd love to chat about all of those things in the comments down below. If you have enjoyed this video today, please do give it a like, and please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. Thanks for watching today, and I hope very much to see you all again very soon for another video all about books here on Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Bye for now.